It's showtime.
Let's completely try that again. My mic was muted. Okay, so you're watching the STPL. We just saw Machine versus Ho, White versus Meteor, of course. Ho did take that win, so it's going to be a 2-0 lead in the series. And it's going to take us to our third game here, which is going to be pretty much all or nothing for Meteor. Of course, if they do not win this game, they have no chance of taking it to the ace match, and they will lose the series. But if they win here, they have a chance to bring it back.
Yeah, reverse sweeps definitely not common in STPL, but you know they sometimes can happen, and it's always cool to see the potential for that here, resting in the hands of our two upcoming players.
Yep, and just to quickly introduce who they are, let's head on over to the overlay and let's take a look. Okay, so this time for Media we have another one of their old school players playing a lot recently. He streams hell of a lot as well. It's going to be Future. Now he is 2-2 in the STPL so far. He is 0-1 against Protoss. He actually got taken out by Fisheye, I think it was last week, against Red. But here he is again. He's going to be up against the one, the only, it's Telecom. Hasn't played in round 2 yet, did go 1-for-1 in his last round. Now Telecom's first loss was actually against a Protoss player on Judgment Day, and he did come back later on to win another PvP on Gladiator, I think it was. But it's going to be a third PvP in a row for Telecom, and this time it's going to be on yet another desert map. It's Troy. Troy, a very cool map. 4 players, 4 gas bases you can take as thirds, 4 island bases as well. And the cool assimilators that may come into play here, especially in a PvP even. We've had 6 PvPs so far in round 2 on Troy, and this is going to be our 7th, and it looks like that has no... I mean, I was saying to you just before in the break that teams really like sending Protoss out here, and you can see why. But let's see if this is going to work out for them. If it's going to work out for Media sending the Protoss player here, can they bring it back in the series? Or is Telecom going to bring it on home for White? Let's find out as we move on over to our game. Okay, and starting us in the top right hand position, we do have the dark blue Protoss fighting for Media. It's going to be Future.
That's right, in the bottom right-hand side of Troy, this is our teal Protoss player, Telecom.
Yeah, obviously.
Apparently they're playing on fantastic latency too, so that's always nice.
Yeah, they're both North American, so both of them obviously getting good ping to each other. I think they both live on the same coast of America as well, although I can never be too sure. I think they're both West Coast, maybe?
Telecom is, of course, the honorary Korean here, playing on White. And I guess do you get to be an honorary Korean too because you're on White Clan kicks?
I guess I am, and I heard when they took Cadenzi and they made all of us honorary Koreans, so it's all good. I've obviously no bias in my casting. I mean, it's the same when we're watching Red for you, but I at least hope I don't show any bias when I'm casting. I'm technically on 2 teams, so yeah, that makes it a bit awkward. But well, yeah, I got brought in as the caster for both teams, and then the only thing I've really casted for both of them is the STPL, so... Whoops.
Well, let's talk about what's going on the map so far. You might notice similar gateway timings, but one is an in-base gateway about as far away as possible, and for Telecom, his gateway is a 2-gate forward double gate. This is very, very aggressive here from Telecom, and I love it. This is absolutely the reason why you see Protoss players and PvP specifically on Troy, because if you can get Zealots across the map in superior numbers, you can kill off the assimilators, and that really locks your opponent in.
Yeah, now, I don't want to sound confused here, but it's almost like Future does what I do sometimes, and didn't check the minimap before he looked where he spawned, and he's like built a gateway behind his gas, which could actually be problematic later on when he does try and build Dragoons, because they're getting stuck in the mineral line.
Oh yeah. Also, that's just a really strange gateway position anyway. Now, it's good if maybe you're getting, I don't know, what, cannon rush or something. I don't know. They're like far. I just don't know. I've never seen a gateway put there before, so maybe somebody else can elucidate me on that. But yeah, you're right. That is much different in the positioning. And for Telecom, his gateways are obviously positioned to just get the Zealots across the map as fast as possible.
Yeah, now Telecom was a little bit fortunate as well, because if it had built the gateway one hex down, the Zealots would have been stuck out that gateway, so I did do a good job there, making sure that was in the right position. I know Telecom does practice the maps quite extensively when he gets sent out for white, so here he is again with another PvP. His PvP so far has been pretty good, so going to be interesting to see how he does against Future here. Future obviously a very active player at the moment. I know Telecom does play quite a lot as well, but nice Zealot micro so far by Telecom.
Oh yeah, Future actually had some nice micro too, pulling back his weakened Zealot. Obviously, yeah, he saves it, but it's totally useless now at 2 HP. It will be regenning shields, but right now is where that aggressive forward 2 gate is really going to kick in. And Future, he has a weakened Zealot. He's got to pull it back. The probe advantage as well as this 2 gate is going to allow Telecom to entomb Future within his base.
Yeah, just in case you've not seen these mechanics before, there are two assimilators. The Vespene guys are underneath them, are slightly bigger, so when the assimilator gets taken down, it does increase the hitbox. When one of the Vespene guys is exposed, it does mean only Zealots and Probes in this matchup can get through, and if both of them get taken down, nothing can, so it's interesting that Telecom isn't going for that. Now he finally is. I think he was a little bit worried if he did go for this, that Future would be able to break out and do something, and it looks like that's what he's going to do. And he's going to get a good position here over Telecom Zealots.
And I'm glad that Telecom didn't just suicide to kill off that last hit on the assimilator. Okay, maybe he should have, but he does save his units, and for Telecom or for Future, he actually holds successfully, which is very impressive.
Yeah, now, for a second there, Future actually had quite a big supply lead, and then Telecom caught up, so I think he was focusing a bit of too much on micro there just for a second, but he does, of course, save all of his Zealots. I don't think Telecom's actually lost a unit so far, neither has, I don't think Future has either, so
Hailing frequencies open.
kind of crazy, but thank you very much, Creative, for the host. Welcome to his viewers. You are watching Media versus White in the STPL. This is Week 6, Round 2. We're going to have one more week after this before we head into the playoffs, but we're currently watching Telecom versus Future. We've had 2 gate openings for both players, and now both of them look to want to expand.
Yeah, this is really weird. Anytime Protoss players expand, expanding is the big moment in the game. And you're watching the Zealots fight kind of like you trade Zerglings early on in a ZVZ, kind of like we just saw in our previous game. That's kind of what we saw there. But Zealots and Zerglings are kind of on opposite ends of the food chain. The Zergling is like this weak, wimpy unit in small numbers, and the Zealot is just like so godlike as just a single unit. So when you bunch them all up, it takes a while for any of them to really die. So you can see these fights go on for maybe a little bit of time. But now that this cannon's up on the high ground, I mean, that's going to be pretty rough to bust.
Yeah, the thing is for Telecom though is he has got an advantage in another way. He didn't manage to lock his opponent in. He is a little bit further behind in supply, but he did skip out on the 3rd gateway for a little bit. He did get a faster nexus, and he didn't have to build a cannon, but this could be where that third gateway really starts to come into play, as Telecom is being forced back and his units keep getting stuck on the cliff.
Yeah, that's really awkward when you retreat around a curve. A lot of times your units can just get glitched up. So This is really a strong position for Future to be in because there are no cannons up yet on this high ground that'll allow Future to breach it. He also brought a probe along with him, so he's going to get those extra hits on the Zealots, which can actually mean the difference between needing one more hit and not needing it. So now the probes are being forced to be pulled by Telecom. The cannons are just now starting to come up, but Future is actually on top of the top one, and he might be able to just take it out, and indeed one of the cannons does go down. The lower cannon actually just a few hits away
it's so
will
close.
go down as well, and it does. And this is a huge moment. I think Future might just have busted through Telecom's natural.
Yeah, he has. Telecom's queuing up quite a few Zealots here, wants to try and get them out, but he's going to lose his pylon. And when this pylon goes down, so does his production. All the probes have been pulled.
GG. That is absolutely game over. You lose that pylon, and unless you can remake it as fast as humanly possible, you're just going to take huge losses. And you're seeing that just so many probes going down, and the Zealots are just basically immortal at this point.
Yeah, but probes do a lot of damage, and here we go. Probes
Not
doing
this
their
much
best.
damage they don't do.
Yeah, they don't do enough damage to hold on here, but he's doing his best. But GG! And Telecom backs out of the game, and that's going to give Future the win here over Telecom, and gives Media a possible chance against White.
Nope, that's actually super impressive. That hold on his high ground by Future was very, very well done. Great Zealot control actually by both players. It took them, I don't know, several minutes before the first unit got lost. And if you look at the average APM at the end of that, it's clear to see that Telecom is just microing his heart out, 300 APM the whole game, and Future less than that, he comes out on top. So it just goes to show, just because you have 4 APM and you're playing, okay, well maybe that's actually pretty bad, but you don't need insane, crazy Korean pro gamer Gosu level APM to win games. Future does it, and brings Media back in the series.
Yep, now unfortunately, the fourth game was a walkover. One of the players didn't show up. I'm going to announce that in just a second. But basically, that is going to be our last game in that series. But of course, not our last game overall. We do have another series coming up after this. So I am just very quickly reporting the final game as well. And then we can go to, well, I guess I've just given it away. But basically, G5 didn't show up to play his game. So I didn't get a replay for that. The game wasn't played, unfortunately. So even though Future did a good job bringing his team with a possible chance back to the ace match, just because G5 was very, very busy and he couldn't show up, that does give by the win over G5, and does give White Clan the win over Media. I'm just going to quickly bring up the results screen just to confirm that, and then we'll move on to our second series. So if you just give me a second here, we will get going.
I will. Yeah, it is basically the most anticlimactic way to end the series possible. Unfortunately, yeah, G5 can't show up, and Media will take the L. They're struggling a little bit in this season of STPL, but you know they are able to pick up wins here and there, and able to take out Telecom, a Future, you know, showing that he is a strong member of that team. I'm still harassing Artosis, trying to get him to play for Media, especially in these games versus teams like White and Seoul, who are Korean teams where he would get really good turn rate against them. He hasn't quite played just yet, so I'll see if I can get him to do that. He's actually training really hard for the ASL qualifiers coming up, so hopefully he'll be able to participate in STPL as well.
Yeah, he doesn't want to show off his builds. He's going to go win ASL. That's what it is. He's been like making flash sniper builds, and that's why he can't show anything off.
There we go.
But either way, we do see that was a 3-1 to White. Unfortunately, as you just said, a very anticlimactic end to the series. But that's not it for today. There is another series coming up just after this. We did see Yes Man take out Naokan in a pretty convincing TVT there. Machine did just about lose to Ho. One strategic decision in the ZVC, of course, enough to end the game. Future did pull it back there against Telecom. But unfortunately for Media, G5 couldn't turn up. They obviously do have a team of quite old players, and all of them have a lot of stuff to do IRL. So unfortunately G5 couldn't make it. Naokan actually submitted him, not really sure if he could play, but unfortunately he couldn't. So Bai's going to get that fourth win, and that's going to take us over to our next series, which is going to be Net Wars versus Ash. So let's head on over to a quick 3-minute break, and we'll be back very shortly. See you guys.